first and only one. No notice. Am I gonna get my apology for it? Remember, I asked you. Oh, let me see. 1 second. There we go. That should fix that. Am I getting my apology form? Jay, I want my apology form. It's a lot longer. It's lasting a lot longer than we mentioned. What was it, like 3-4 weeks ago in that post? Or are we waiting? Is the apology form only coming with boots on the ground? We didn't establish time frame. Okay. Okay, fine. No apology forms, fine. I have not tried the managed agents yet. I'm trying to write a plan for a synthetic event testing so I don't have to do this live. I'm trying to unify all of this offline so I could make some really good progress on the app. So they have an ultra plan feature that I just found out about now. What you're seeing on the screen is him planning everything out. Now, I don't know if he's going to time out because before I got on, he timed out. So I might have to run this in chunks. If it has to be ran in chunks, I'm going to be butthurt. Slightly. It's okay, though. We have a stable build. It works for the stream. Can you do any software coding in C, C++, Python? Yeah, it can do all that. I can't. So, I can't code. I keep telling people I'm not a coder, dude. I'm not a software developer of any kind. Yeah. But we can get it to do whatever. I heard about the warehouse guy, yeah. Apparently he was, I don't know if he was an illegal, but he was an immigrant from what they're saying. I mean, the caption on the post was, here's an immigrant and he's ungrateful and he burned down the warehouse. So make of that what you will. Yeah. It is what it is. What Wolverine product? What do you mean? Exactly. The peptides? The recovery peptides? I think he's gonna crash out again. God damn it. Okay. Ultra plan. I try to scope out too big of a TB 500 and BPC 157. It's that combination. Option 1. Let's do this in chunks. Ah, fuck. That would have been cool. It's an injection. It's really easy, dude. It's with an insulin syringe. You could buy them on Amazon. See, people think we're coding here. This is Claude. This guy's asking me if I'm in the tech field. Am I JavaScript? No, we're building out a plan. We're scoping out a project for a massive change on the back end of my app so I can test out synthetic alerts. Essentially, it's going to reproduce what the alerts are. Yeah. Like from all the super chats, the donations, the tipping and all that stuff. And I'm having him build out a plan before we start to implement everything, which is, you know, going to be super helpful for me when I need to test everything. Right now, I've been depending on you guys testing everything out for me. It is super cool. So it's a pain in the ass to do this live. I have to wait every time there's a bug introduced or I push a major update somewhere. I don't know if I introduced a bug, so I have to get on and stream and see if everything works. And let's test my OAuth one more time and see if my keys expired. Twitch, Kick, YouTube worked. Rumble didn't. That's how it should operate. Okay, so everything's working. You're looking at it from air power and military strike perspectives. You're a fighter jet tech. I hope they can make a deal. Hey, the last episode we did called it. It didn't even last 24 hours. They started bombing shit again. Apparently the talks have resumed. Oil climbed up above 100 again. Now it's back to like 97 or whatever. Yeah, I'm using Opus 4.6 extended. Apparently Claude 5 is going to drop really soon in the next 30 days or so. Thanks, bro. Yeah, the shirts have been doing really well. I guess we'll plug that for a second while he's back here thinking. I'm pretty sure he's going to time out because he's writing the final plan and he's already been at this for... Let me find out. He's been at this for 26 minutes, so he's going to time out. Unfortunate. So yeah, the merch, before we get into something. The Vote Harder mugs. They're doing really well. Vote Harder mugs, this one here specifically, it's a clean design. The Uniparty mug and the Uniparty shirt's doing really well. The Just Vote Harder one, doing good too. Got them in shirts right here, as you can see. Classic bug sandwich, obviously still available. We do have the Goy Slot bots, the Goy bots. We'll keep these up for probably the month of April, and then we'll take them down, along with the She Took a Legion of Men. We got them in white right here. Again, these are just fun designs for those that want to get them. They're very interesting. They're in mugs too. So we'll put them on a rotational basis, or maybe just something actually more exclusive, not even rotational, just an exclusive basis. This will be the merch for the month of like April, for example, and then rotate it out. Yeah. So we'll rotate that out. There's mugs and shirts for every design. And yeah, I think that's the plan going forward. I have a couple other ones waiting. I have a new take on the Top Goy mugs. We took out the old Top Goy designs and we're going to add a new one. Request timed out, you see? Or was this my old? That was my old. Let me remove this before I fucked something up. I'm just curious if he times out, dude. My terminal says he's still working 28 minutes in. 47 tool calls. I'm just burning my credits right now. Or I should say my tokens. Now the problem is, well, Ultra Plan is supposed to solve this, where you're trying to do an architectural change. Except I'm trying to architect 5 different changes into one. Like I'm trying to unify the way this works. It just seems like he's not capable at the moment. He just gets stuck on writing the final plan. He gets through almost everything else. Yeah, that's what I have. I had originally the design was in phases, and I'm gonna start phase 1 right now. Everything's clear. No tasks running. Paste phase 1. Yeah. So I have to break this down in phases if he fails here again and times out. Phase 1 will be Twitch. Phase 2 is going to be something like Kick. Phase 3 YouTube. Phase 4 Rumble. Phase 5 Streamlabs. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's much more tightly scoped. I figured Ultra Plan would be good for this. And maybe it is. Maybe there's just something going on with Anthropic servers. I don't know. Yeah. I've never actually used Ultra Plan to scope something this big out. This will be a massive back-end change for me. Thought it made sense. So, I mean, he's still going. What did I say? Did I say 47 tool calls before? Oh, yep, he timed out, of course. There it is. Okay. Let's do the new version then. Unfortunate, bro. Bros, it's unfortunate. Let me scope out the new change. We'll do a regular show too, don't worry. We got everything going here. That sucks. All right. Let me go in terminal real quick. Stop that shit. Terminate the session. Tasks. No tasks are running. Okay. Let's try that again. Phase 1. Would have been cool if it worked. Probably will with Claude 5. Run Ultra. Okay. Let's refresh this. Monitor progress. Open on the web. Okay. Is Pinnacle dead or he got slurped to death? He got slurped to death. He'll revive one day.
At Paniagui 6406 donated $4.99. I know this is out of topic, but can you speak on the state of the car market, new, used and on-car defaults, in a separate segment of yours?
Yeah, I'm aware of what's going on in the car market. If you want, I could talk about it here, or if you have a video you want me to commentate on, by all means, go for it. Appreciate it, brother. I know defaults are at all-time highs. I know interest rates are really high right now. The average payment is over $700 easy for a car. I know car dealers are absolutely starving to death. Cars are sitting on lots. They're not selling. People are asking absurd amount. Dealers are asking absurd amounts. I shouldn't even say people. Like a Hyundai something. I forget what model exactly. They're asking $100,000 for a Hyundai. So the state of the car market, somehow it's worse than the state of the housing market. Housing's a little more interesting because it's pockets. So it depends in what market you're in, what city you're in what area. Some are hot, some are cold, but the car market overall, they're having a slump. Sales are off. The boys are starving. And because they're greedy too. Fuck all these dealers. I remember a few years ago during the pandemic, I was shopping for a Raptor and everybody was asking $20,000 markup and they called it a market adjustment. Market adjustment? Market adjustment? It's a truck. They're acting like that shit, like gold comes out of the tailpipe. It's a Ford. And you're asking $20,000 because you put a suspension on there for off-roading? Like, absolutely not. So I'm glad the dealers, especially the real greedy ones, are getting what they deserve. Fuck all those dealers. They were scamming people left and right. Markup. Yeah, well, now there's a markdown because the economy's shit. So go ahead and give me $10K off MSRP. If the sticker says that car is worth, say, $60, you're going to give it to me for $50. And throw in an employee discount on top of that and suck me off. Why not? Because they were trying to rape me earlier. Okay, so gamers, goodbye. Thank you for tuning in and constantly having the algorithm show me to you. Later. I would never pay more than 30 grand for a Hyundai. That's crazy. Yeah, the prices the prices of everything has gone up. That's what sucks. You can't even get a decent car anymore for $15,000. So stupid. But hey. All right, once he's done building this plan out, boys, this is the new scoped phase 1. I'm just curious. If he fails here, we're just I'll have to deal with this. Our first topic will be the uniparty. And then we'll just get into a bunch of random things. Some Professor Yang. They've been on his ass. They're saying he's like CCP and all this stuff. Everybody is looking to discount everybody. Literally, bro. They try to find, because he's Chinese, they're like, he's a CCP plant. And he could be. He could be a CCP plant. But what does that have to do with what he's talking about? If he's saying pro-Chinese things or demoralizing kind of agent topics, all right, just clock that in your head. Okay, cool. It may be a CCP plant meant to demoralize people, but I'm still going to listen to what he has to say. I'm curious. And he's not right on most topics. I had Super Grok Heavy. I think Grok sucks for the moment. They need to do a lot of training. Once they release their next major model, I'll give it a shot again. I was very disappointed in Super Grok. The Heavy, I mean. Yeah. I did absolutely no IT in college or university. None whatsoever. I'm literally every day learning how to go into the terminal, how to type in commands, how to set up my repositories on GitHub and all this stuff, and pushing out gits and branches and committing and all this stuff. I'm literally learning it as I go. Yeah, I quite literally, this is how I built my business with the same kind of mentality. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll figure it out. I take one problem at a time, guys. That's the key to all this shit. Break down giant problems into smaller ones. I don't try to think about the end point of what a successful business looks like, making millions of dollars, sitting in a corner office, an employee. I don't know what it takes to get there. Don't care. I got to deal with problem number one in front of me. Problem number one is like, okay, what's an LLC and how do I start one? Something like that, for example. Yes, you build a business like Lego bricks. Lego is the perfect example of how you build things in your life. Or puzzles, right? Puzzles. Incredibly beautiful puzzles that make cool pictures when complete, but when you're looking at each piece individually, it just means nothing. It has no meaning. That's what it's like right here. Now I have enough to write the plan. Okay. Are you gonna, though? That's the question. So, okay. Yeah, piece by piece, brick by brick. This is how you build this. I taught myself how to edit everything off of the YouTube stuff, everything, just like a brick by brick. How do you export file? How do you import a clip? What's the blade tool? How do you make a cut? Where's the best place to make a cut? I started off like that. I started off at 0. Literal 0. Same with the day trading stuff. 0. I didn't know what a candle was. I didn't know what support resistance was. I didn't know how to read any of that shit. Self-taught is how you do everything in life if you want to be successful, honestly. All information is online, available for you to learn. YouTube University is amazing. It's still a gem. Most people are using YouTube for pure slop or like, what's the most popular channels on YouTube? Fucking Mr. Beast and all that shit. That's just pure entertainment slop. You're either getting your news from YouTubers, some type of commentary, some podcast, a discussion, or YouTube University. That's it. Yeah. Alrighties. Boys, I think he's writing it. I don't know for sure. He's definitely still thinking here. Your YouTube's 90% tech news? Likewise, yeah. If you would have told me I would have been using something like Claude Code and actually code, I thought about going into computer science. I'm thankful. Maybe I should have actually. By this point, I would know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Maybe I should have actually. No, but all seriousness, I would have never guessed I'd be touching anything like this. At all, ever. Dare to fail and look like a noob. Most people are scared. Scared to look stupid doing something new. We spent, I don't know, the other day, not too long ago here, maybe 3-4 days ago, whenever the second to last stream was, I think we lost 3 hours figuring out that I was actually logged into the wrong account. So imagine that. Good afternoon. You got to see me, literal retard max. Live stream, not hiding mistakes or pretending the shit is, oh, it's super easy, bro. You just go do it. I spent 3 hours figuring out I'm like logged in incorrectly. Yeah. We were just chilling trying to fix one persistent bug. And it's like, hey, Claude was like, hey, I think you're just logged into the wrong account. And you know, me being a human, I'm like, I think you're a retard. So tell me how to fix this. Sure enough, you know, the hubris. I'm not logged in incorrectly, you retard. Find another answer. Was logged in incorrectly. But yeah. So that's just like, hey, 101 human retardation. There it is. I'm like, I'm the one getting triggered and shit. I'm crashing out on my bot, double checking my work. You're a fucking retard clanker. I'm going to disconnect you. I'm canceling my plan. You better figure this shit now. I'm calling your fucking daddy, Dario. Sick of this. Yes, sir. Secretly Terminators being built like Bo's the first one to die. They're logging all the chats. Every time you talk shit to your bot, everything's getting logged. They're going to have a targeting priority system. All of you talking shit, you're going first. How it's gonna be. Holy. I think this is working because he got stuck here before. He was not. Was he forging before? He seems to be working through it. In 2029, the T1000 was made. Is that the timeline? Hey, that's a scary timeline. 29? Hey, dude, that's a lot of, that's recursive improvement happening by 2029. That's dangerous. If Mythos is as good as they say, can you imagine another couple of years? Whoa, dude. Whoa, that's actually scary. And it was sent back in 91. Hey, the world's going to be crazy in the next 5 years. People are not ready. Now I have enough to write the plan. Write the plan, bro. Is he gonna... I think he's gonna just take a shit again. Something is wrong with my... He's now running for 12 minutes. We'll give him like another 10 minutes. Yeah, ask him how long. I'm not too confident right now. Oh, you're serious? I don't know, guys. Is this gonna work? Yeah, the new model will definitely fix this bullshit. That's what I'm really missing to reduce some of the friction here is the new model's capability, and you have to use it in the very beginning. Like I have to front load all the work because after to nerf all the models. It sucks. So in like the first week or two to get people to sign up for the plan, it just max out brain power and inference. And then after that, they start nerfing it. So once the new model comes out, day one, your boy is just going to load up on tokens, dude, just infinite. And we're going to town. I don't think I'll get on to stream that day, or maybe I'll just stream coding the whole day with you guys, and I'm just going to literally build out the entire app. Fuck it, and hanging out. We're just giving this a few more minutes, and then a dope stream for coding. Yeah. We'll just start that one on all the platforms, but move it over to Kick only because I think the YouTubers are basically here just to watch the usual commentary videos. Most of them. Most people don't care for coding, which is so unfortunate. It's like, hey, this is the magic. Talk about women. Hey, Did you see that one viral video? She was slurping off 30 guys. All right. Let's talk about it. That's what we're doing right now. It's broken down into one piece. So he's building the Twitch synthetic event testing framework. The program is scoped already so that he has an easier time writing the plan out anyways. The architectural decisions were pre-answered by the prompt that I pasted here. So he shouldn't actually need to do too much. Maybe it's just the Ultra plan having a problem. So let me just make sure. If Ultra plan times out again, can we just try the full prompt before on the normal plan mode? You're using the Ultra plan right now? I shouldn't be timing out, dude. I don't have anything crazy then. Are you doing it in Claude Code? The app or the desktop? Yeah, I'm not asking it for much. I don't get it. Working fine for you too? Let me check the desktop. The desktop's still running. If he fails this, I'm just going to dump that entire unified architecture into normal planning in the terminal, and then we're just going to start the stream. Desktop. Yeah, everything's working for me. It's just Ultra Planning is struggling right now. He completes everything. That's what's stupid. He completes everything. All research is completed, spec, scoped, all that shit. And he just has to write the plan. He literally gets stuck. He times out on writing the plan. Okay. Oh. I didn't watch that, whatever that report video is. You want to vote really hard? Trying to see here what he's telling me to do. I think this is going to time out, boys. It should not take this long to plan out the synthetic event testing for Something as simple as the Twitch thing. How much can I bench? Max, I don't know. I could do 225 for 10. I had a 315 max, but that was a long time ago. I fucked up my shoulder. I don't do benching anymore like that. I actually don't even touch the bench at all. I do mostly flies and dumbbell presses. Something about the bar, it just pinches. It pinches my shoulder. So weighted chin-ups. Yeah, I used to have the chain, the belt in the chain, and I would do 245s. Welcome to Old Man Shoulder Time. It's rough. Thankfully, the Wolverine stack, it's pretty nice now. Okay, we're gonna assume he's gonna time out here. So let me get my paste ready, and then we'll start the stream. Welcome in, guys. Start cloud code. Oh shit, it worked. Ooh. Hello. Damn, that took a while. Okay, we actually had success. Cool. We're just making a backup plan just in case. Context. Okay. Let's just paste the context. There we go. Okay. Coolio. He's just pasting me all the things on the plan to ask him right here when it says tell Claude what to do. He's basically telling me there's certain things that he noticed in the code that he wants me just to verify before we approve the plan and move forward. So he's got like 8 comments here. I'm just reading through his comments. Okay, cool. Let me move the chat over real quick and do this then. All right. I'm just going to copy paste a bunch of shit right now. Or better yet, write this all for me in one pasted format. Yeah, we're just doing our revisions right now and then we'll get started. He's writing up what I need to click on really quick. There we go. Copy. And tell Claude what to do. Paste. Done. Okay, now he's going to go and work on that. Vibe coding. Okay. I think that's good. I think we can pretty much get started then, huh? Because he's just going to be in the background doing his job. And that's that. All right. Let me copy my session over somewhere else here. And we're good to go. He didn't time out, so we're good. That looks weird though. Okay. We'll leave this page up. We'll just periodically, as we're streaming, check in on that. Let's get into some of the news while the homie is ready. Yeah, I use /compact once the conversation I feel like gets a little slow or too long. If you just do /compact, you'll clear the context. It's a shortcut. So, we got here is this beautiful piece of news from the uniparty. Somehow, some way, 20 plus Democrat and Republican Congress, so 20 on each, if I'm not mistaken. Bipartisan support for amnesty, of all things.
Tonight, we remember the ghost of amnesty bills passed. There was the 1986 Simpson-Mazzoli bill. Reagan signed that into law. Supposedly, it was a one-time amnesty of nearly 3 million illegal immigrants. Illegal immigration in response surged. Then there was the 2007 attempt sponsored by John McCain, Ted Kennedy, and Lindsey Graham. Well, grassroots, including my radio audience, revolted. It died. In 2013, it was the Gang of Eight. That was so bad that one of its sponsors, Marco Rubio, walked away from his own bill. So it became the Gang of Seven, and that crashed and burned too. Then, just a few years ago, Senator Jim Langford came on this show, did his very best to defend his own immigration bill. He did the dance, but the music stopped. And now, a new bill. They're calling it Dignity.
No more need to choose between amnesty or deportation.
Dignity is not amnesty. Dignity.
Maria Salazar. Conflict of interest much? Salazar? This is crazy. This is like watching that BBC clip of the African woman, Indian guy, and Gypsy woman talking about British problems and why British people should be paying into the welfare system that they should have access to. It's mind blowing. And then there's also this thing that I noticed too in the mainstream, not even in the mainstream, in general, because, you know, white people can't say anything. You see it either in the comments or in the video itself. You have non-whites that are now saying things like that you would hear from whites. So, you know, we do need to deport all these illegals. We do need to close the borders. They are taking all these jobs. It'll be like a black guy saying that, or an Asian or a Hispanic. And then you have the white simps under in the comment section. He's one of the good ones. Oh my God, yes, based black dude. Finally, somebody with common sense, because we can't speak, because you can't speak. Is this how cucked out of your own fucking mind white people have become? You can't even say we want closed borders or, you know, any of this stuff. It's perceived as racist. Like with the Somalis, when they're making the black community in general look bad, Africans in general look bad. All the fraud they were committing and talking about it somehow was racist. So it took like a couple of black people to get on and be like, these people, we are not the same. These people need to be kicked out. And then like, oh, so based king, based queen. Yes, this is what I'm saying. Race, culture, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 all this stuff. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? That sounds crazy. So, yeah, bananas and rice. It's insane, dude. You have now minorities that are going onto the mainstream with white talking points and being elevated as based, because if white people said it, it would be racist. You're not even allowed to speak. This is how cucked you are. You have to, by proxy, only by proxy, be allowed to speak. By the token, whatever, skin color of the person, by proxy, you're allowed to speak on these topics. Crazy. Just like conservatism, it doesn't even exist. It only is there by proxy of women. You ever notice that all the conservative movements have a ton of women? Like in Italy, their conservative movement was a woman. In France, their conservative movement was a woman. In Germany, the conservative movement there is a woman, or the right-wing parties, mostly women. Japan, conservative movement there is a woman. And they always end up backtracking and just instituting the whims and needs of the uniparty anyway. Have you noticed that? By proxy, you're conservative by proxy. How? By having a woman in the lead. I don't know. How does that make sense? It's sickening. So now you have Miss Salazar talking about dignity bills to allow 25 million illegals to stay in the country.
Dignity is not path to citizenship. Dignity is just to give a dignified life in the promised land, the United States. Republicans and Democrats, we can definitely join forces, and we can pass this.
Today, Brandon Gill, congressman from Texas, tweeted that it was a double middle finger to the middle class. Well, of course, it's sold as practical. It's measured. It's, of course, not amnesty. You heard the congresswoman. But if you've been paying attention, you've heard that promise for decades. Cycle after cycle. It's a new name, same structure, same result. And here's what they don't emphasize. Buried in the fine print, there is broad authority for executive agencies.
Someone said, y'all white people are cooked, bro. Trust me, don't ever think the white man is down. Hey, when we chimp out, civilizations get destroyed. It's a funny meme, but it's true. There's something that they're hiding from you too, by the way. So the media doesn't show you when whites start chimping out and actually are taking their country back. So I'll show you what's going on in Ireland right now, which you would have no idea, of course, because they're hiding it. So why would they actually show you what's going on in the streets in Europe, at least? This is Ireland. This is all over. You're seeing, look at all these. Yep. Everywhere. There's already been clashes. I can't show it to you on YouTube, but in the UK, there's been clashes, and in Ireland and in other places, between what the media labels them right-wing nationalists and versus whatever they're up against. So you're not seeing this, though. CNN won't report this, MSNBC, Fox News, because they're all owned by the same people. They're never going to report the discontent and the civil unrest going on in Europe. There are protests like this that you have no idea are currently happening right now. Right-wing parties are gaining power, and they're not even right enough. They're just not left. That's why they're winning. The real right-wing parties, the real right-wing nationalism will arrive probably sometime, if I were to guess, in like 2032. Just wait and see. Wait and see, my friend. Try to warn you guys.
To waive key requirements. Criminal history, waivable. Continuous presence rules, waivable. On what grounds? Humanitarian, public interest, family unity. These are elastic terms that bureaucrats can stretch however they want. So once again, it's not strict, it's discretionary. And when Washington says it's a case-by-case situation, it usually means a rubber stamp for entry and staying here. Now, we're told this is about dignity. But tonight I ask this question: what about the dignity of American law, the American worker, border security? My next guest disagrees with this analysis. We welcome Congressman Mike Lawler of New York. Congressman, it's great to see you tonight. You knew this wasn't going to be a fun interview, but I salute you for coming on. I want to start with the fact, Congressman, that the DHS, under this legislation, and yes, I've read it before you ask me, can waive any of these rules for eligibility, including an alien's criminal history. How can you possibly look in the face of the American people and say that's dignity?
So a few things, Laura. Number one, under current law, the Department of Homeland Security is doing that. They are absolutely allowing people who are in this country illegally to ultimately get on a pathway to citizenship. It has happened for 40 years. This system is fundamentally broken. I know it because my wife is an immigrant and I've been through it. And so my perspective on this is very simple. Number one, the border was the biggest problem. President Trump ran and won on that issue. He said he would stop illegal immigration into the country. He has effectively done that. We've had 10 straight months of net zero illegal entry into the country. I fully support that. And we want to codify President Trump's policies into law, which is what the Dignity Act does when it comes to the border. Secondarily is to deal with the undocumented that are in this country. Get them out of the shadows. You are talking about tens of millions of people who have been living in the shadows, undocumented, and no matter. What do you mean? How?
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
legally here.
You've got to stop using the cliches.
They're not legally here.
AIPAC funded, by the way, just letting you know. Huge AIPAC backing.
Right, this in the shadows
They're not legally here,
I've been
Laura.
dealing with this for 25 years. I don't know what shadows you're looking at, but they're not in the shadows. They're working in restaurants. Some are, others.
That's a good point. They're not hiding. And then, not only are they not hiding, but they go out in the streets and they protest and they wave their flags from their country and they say how America is shit and, you know, this system is horrible. And it's like, all of you come here, though. If you're so proud of where you came from, if you're riding for Mexico, go back to Mexico then. Oh, but we're here because, you know, this is where we make money. Okay, then. So live by its rules. Assimilate. No, but we're only here to make money. And once we make money, we're going to build houses back home and that's where we're going to retire. Oh, so you're just using America to make money. I see. So why are you here then? So I don't fly Romanian flags. I don't speak in Romanian. I don't tell Americans how great Romania, because it isn't. Because it's got a lot of problems. Because if I had to choose, my choice would be easy. America. I was raised here most of my life. I still feel like a foreigner going back home there. I don't push that shit. Am I proud of my people and their history and it's cool to read about what happened? Great, cool story. That's for me and my head and my family. But you're in America, you speak English, you observe the holidays here, you blend in, you eat your fucking hot dogs, and you go watch your baseball. And go fucking deal with it. You don't like that, go back to your shitholes. See, this is by proxy again, because an American can't actually say this. An immigrant, first generation, has to actually get on and say something. Now, imagine if I wasn't white and I could say some crazy shit about immigrants and get away with it. It takes an immigrant to tell Americans that most of these immigrants are bad for America. You have no idea what these people say, what they think about Americans. You're fat, you're lazy, you're stupid, you don't work hard. You don't deserve what you have. And not only that, they don't wish to put anything in the system. They actively scam. They want to pay as little into it as possible, but get the most out of it that they possibly can. This is the mentality of these people. I know because I've spoken to them. I've seen them. I've seen them in some of the lower class Romanians that came over. Disgusting. If it was me, I'm in my Darth Vader mode, so whatever. I'd be executing motherfuckers, but that's just me, especially other Romanians. I'd be executing them first. No offense. But I saw some gypsies the other day speaking in some broken Romanian with like gypsy language mixed in with Romanian. Hey, if you want to find out about a Balkan, ask them what they think about gypsies. Huh.
Are
of course, many
in
of them
widespread
are.
Fraud in California.
Yeah.
But this idea
Yeah.
that
And that's why this bill.
There's a funny thing when Europeans are like, we're not racist. Ask Europeans what they think about gypsies.
given amnesty. They're not already given amnesty. Why do you come on television and say that? The president is...
No, that was in Phoenix, dude. I was shocked. I heard some kind of mangled Romanian I never heard in my entire life. This was crazy. It was, I could only make out certain words. They were dark, too. Like, clearly not ethnically Romanian, just what's left there from the Indian spice trade. but they were something, I don't know. I've never seen this. Even when I was in Romania, I never came across these kinds of people. They spoke some weird, I don't know what the fuck language that was. It was like Pakistani Romanian mix. I don't know what the hell it was jumbled with. I could only make out some words, and it sounded, I don't even know. Ghetto is not the right word, but it sounded super basic, very countryside-esque. Like, you know, like when you hear somebody from deep in the country speaking, and they speak that country English, something like that, akin to that. That's what it sounded like. Yeah. And I looked at him and I was like,
been trying to remove people from this country. The
they-
only reason they're not being
Correct,
removed
and
is because we don't have
Laura.
strong Democrats and Republicans to support it.
No, Laura. Criminal aliens, 100% should be removed from this country, period. And the bill provides for that. I don't want anyone getting a waiver. I don't want anyone getting a free pass
It's in the
here.
legislation.
If you have committed
Have
a
you read the
crime,
legislation?
if you have committed a crime, yes, I have, Laura. If you have committed a crime,
Okay.
you should be removed from the country, period. Number two, what we are trying to do is say, if you have been in the country for more than 5 years, in other words, if you came here during Joe Biden's administration, you don't qualify.
How do you determine
You don't
that?
qualify under this
Congressman,
legislation.
how do you, yeah, that's a good, how do you determine that?
All of this
So,
sounds great.
It's
Answer
very
a
clear.
simple question.
It's
Because
very clear. You have to
I'm a
be in the
simple
country
person.
before 2020. Yeah, you have to be in the country before.
Okay, bro. Hey, guys, let's go fly into Mexico. Let's cross the border undetected. And then we're all just going to claim that we've been here for like 10 years already. Oh, dope. So then I get amnesty? Dope. Explain how you're tracking the timeline, because these people don't come in via legal routes. There is no passport stamp. They're not fingerprinted. Nothing's going on in the system. You could just make shit up. Okay.
2020.
I'm a
So
simple
anybody
person.
who came.
Please.
Yep.
All right. Please tell my audience, because they're very smart.
Yep.
How does an immigration officer determine millions and millions, determine continuous presence, and tell me the considerations they take into account to determine that?
Well, look, if they cannot prove that, if they cannot prove continuous presence, they wouldn't qualify for this. You have to be able to meet
But
the
I just asked you a
qualifications
question.
of
How
the
do you
program.
determine it?
You have to be able to meet the qualifications of the program, and that means
What
the
is the
Department of
qualification?
Homeland Security is going to they are going to make the determination, as they always have.
You see, I want you to pay attention. This is the uniparty speaking. The runaround, she's catching him in they're going to make the deterrent. This is like corporate speak, you know? They say a lot without saying anything. Empty words. So he got caught. In the bill, making the determination is just at the discretion of whoever the fuck happens to be the officer, which could be a flaming liberal once the Democrats get in. So if it's a flaming lib as the officer, you're getting rubber stamped in and you're getting your amnesty. Or even more so, in the future, as more and more people keep pouring over the border illegally and not tracked and verified, then they can also get rubber stamped and pretend they've been here for years. It's very easy, because then you can just say, well, I have family that can vouch for me. I have a neighbor that could vouch for me. I'll pay my neighbor $500, $1,000, whatever it is. That neighbor will vouch and have some signed affidavit that says, yes, he's been living here for 15 years. In these little carve-outs in their communities, and then you get rubber stamped and legalized into the country. You get amnesty. That's the part that they're not telling you. This is how it would work in the real world should this system be implemented. This is what they're trying to pass. This is a legal way for permanent amnesty in perpetuity from today on forward, the moment that bill gets passed. That's going to be the new incentive. Show me the incentive, I'll show you the results. Now, anybody that crosses into America illegally just has to pay someone 5 Gs, whatever the price. The black market will dictate the price of that affidavit. And you're good to go, my friend. rubber stamp after rubber stamp after rubber stamp. The system is fucked. They're literally replacing you. And it is the uniparty. I want to be clear. This is not a Democrat thing. You can't say, you wanted to vote for Kamala? Republicans are pushing for this. This guy's a Republican congressman. Just letting you know. You absolutely got fucked.
Rules.
Based on the current structure and guidelines that are in place. But the bottom line here, Laura, can I make a few points? Because this actually matters.
Yeah.
E-Verify is part of the bill.
You bet it does.
Okay, so you actually... and it's part of the bill. And we want to verify that every single person who would be employed in this country is here legally. If you're not verified, you wouldn't be able...
Yeah, America's torn apart from the inside out. It's defeated. Texas is no longer majority white births as of 2025. Texas now has millions of Indian immigrants that have been rubber stamped in their program. It's over, dude. The only way America was going to stay together was to be like 95% white, period. You need to have a dominant culture and a homogenous society. The moment America started being diversified racially is the moment you get carve-outs. Democracy fails because now it's Hispanics versus whites versus blacks versus Asians versus other. When it comes to voting, when it comes to having political power, when it comes to instrumenting that power into bills and legislation, it is now race versus race. Ethnic enclave versus ethnic enclave. That's why in Minnesota, you're not getting voted in without the Somalis because there's so many of them there. That is why the mayor there is sucking off Somalis and that entire voter base because he needs them. That is why the mass deportation failed because that 40% Hispanic voter base, the Republicans need that to win elections. So how are you going to deport the people who are most likely family or friends of the very people that are going to help vote you into power? Do you see what's happening? Although a vast majority of whites vote, say, Republican and conservative, a vast majority of everybody else does not. And so they're driving in the wedge by bringing in these millions of people, giving them amnesty, a way to vote. You imported the voter base. Now you're changing policy and politics forever. The demographic shift in America changes the political picture of America. And now you have akin to what the third world has, a dysfunctional government that doesn't work for anybody. And you just have sects vying for power, sectarian leadership. And the country will literally be divided around racial lines. Make no mistake, this is the future of America. There's a reason that the right-wing populism, that movement Trump harnessed, was so anti-immigration because the identity shift of what it means to be an American directly influences politics in the future of the country. There's a reason, guys, that civil, what could you call it? Civil engagement, civil unrest, volunteering, all types of civics in general. All of that participation is down the gutter because when you go out of your community, you can't relate to anybody. There's too many different people. So, patriotism is dead. Or they're trying to kill it, more accurately.
Able to lawfully work, and we would hold those businesses accountable. The bottom line of the Dignity Act is very straightforward. You have to be in the country for more than 5 years. You cannot have committed a crime. You cannot collect government benefits.
Okay, that's false.
You have to pay a fine. You must pay back taxes. It's not false, Laura. You must pay back taxes,
all right, Congressman,
and you must be employed.
Okay.
Those are the terms.
Here's
Those are
the truth.
the terms.
Congressman, you know how much I like you. But you can't come on this show and say to my audience that you can't have committed a crime to be eligible under the, quote, Dignity Act, because there are several crimes that are, quote, nonviolent that do not qualify for inadmissibility. And on top of that, There are multiple instances, including family unity, public interest, and just discretion on the part of immigration officers. I can't imagine
You're not going to die defending third worlders. You know what's crazy about that, especially with the black community? They vote so heavily Dem. All these policies affected the black community the worst. There's a clip. Some guy was explaining it too, but I talked about black culture being in terminal decline. Watch this. Listen to this.
Mentioned that blacks will be pretty much a permanent underclass in America by the year 2015. Why the year 2015? 2015 because what I've concluded from analysis is that there's going to be a converging of social factors nationally and internationally that's going to place blacks in a permanent status of underclasship. And we anticipate by that point in time, based on all the research that's coming to us, that the next generation of whites is going to be more anti-black than they've been since the civil rights movement. 2, we anticipate, by the same token, about 86 million Hispanics coming into the United States and about 41 million Asians by that point in time, which is going to kick black folk out of being the minority in the society down to a minority. We've been number 2 in the society for 400 years as a group. We're going to become number 4. And if we have not gotten anything after being number 2 for 400 years, you guess what's going to happen when we become number 4.
A few points and just summarily talk about them. Mention that blacks will be...
So I mentioned it before, black culture is in terminal decline. They've lost all their political power. They abort millions of their babies. Their population's no longer growing that a negative growth rate also. So the black population is shrinking in America. It's over. The open border policy replaced black neighborhoods. Hispanics moved in and displaced African Americans. You've lost all your political power as being the majority minority. Hispanics have completely overshadowed you. And so exactly what the politicians are doing when they're looking for votes, they placate to those that help them win. As we go further into the future with these millions of people pouring across the border, African Americans are going to be completely forgotten about at the polls in the campaigns. No one's going to care to reach out to the black delegation and all because you're irrelevant. You've been replaced. You make such a small percentage of the minority that placating to you, that bringing you into the fold won't even matter. And he's correct. If you are struggling as the majority minority already, imagine what this shit's going to look like. And I don't know even how old this video is, but that guy claimed by 2015, it's even worse in 2025. If Biden let in 25 million people, imagine what a few more cycles of Dems in power is going to do. You will be all but invisible, culturally irrelevant, politically irrelevant already. So for me, it doesn't make sense how blacks vote Dems. Literally, Dems are destroying black neighborhoods. Democrats are destroying black culture, black society, and any sort of black political power in the country. They imported Hispanics, and that's who they placate to heavily. That's insane. If you guys could have seen the future, if your leaders could have seen the future, vast majority of blacks should be hard right in voting. Literally vote nothing but hard right, closed border, all immigrants must go. Where's the first place an immigrant gets dropped off to? Mass immigrants, black neighborhoods. And they displace black families. That shit's crazy. I know, it's just somebody else mentioned blacks vote Dem heavily. That's why.
A damp 911 donated $5. If you enter the country illegally, isn't that a crime?
Hey, don't be using that kind of logic with these libs. Actually, technically, this one's a conservative saying that shit, a Republican. That's crazy. Yeah, technically, you broke the law by being here illegally, so you don't qualify, right? Isn't that funny?
At Memoism 457 donated $5. If US is being invaded, isn't it worth it to move to Japan or something? Our lifestyle as Americans is over.
So go be an immigrant somewhere else where they also don't want you. That's the point. There's nowhere to run. There is nowhere to run. You understand? Assuming you're a white American, there's nowhere to run. So your country is being invaded, America. Where are you running as a white American? Let's just be honest. You're going up to Canada, they're being invaded. You're going to Europe, they're being invaded. Every country for Europeans or those that have European blood or history is being invaded. Do you not see what's happening? What's going on, Romelio?
Democrat immigration officers under a Democrat president in the future was going to hold this strict, we're not going to let any criminals in. Gang
Australia's
member
also invaded.
What they're going to do, Laura, what they're going to do, yeah. What the Democrats will do if they get complete control of Congress and the White House.
And you have to say what you really want to say. Stop beating around the bush. We're going to move to Japan. Why do you think Japan is so safe? By the way, they're getting invaded too. Because they're majority Japanese. Homogenous society. Anti-immigration. You want to go into a super majority society where it's safe. Instead of having the conversation out in the open of, you want your country to remain a super majority. You don't know what it's like to live. Yeah, the Balkans are actually pretty nice still, but rapidly changing. When I was there 2 years ago, I, for the first time in my life, lived in a super majority white country. And let me tell you, it was actually amazing. I couldn't believe I could just walk around. The parks were clean. No homeless people. Children playing. Laughter of children. Families. Kids riding bicycles. Every time Saturday came and Sunday, the parks were filled. The churches were emptying on Sunday around 1, 2 p.m. People obviously congregating at the churches. Religion was still a big deal. You're able to walk and not worry at 4 in the morning of something happening. This is what it's like living in a super majority. It's incredible. I had no idea. And then 2 years later, I come back to the United States and I literally land in the first airport that I do. I think it was Minneapolis, and the Browning of America, just being completely honest, is so apparent. I never seen so many different people in the last 2 years. It's fucking wild to see the difference. Now, that's only comparing the Balkans, which are still majority of their own people, versus the United States. The United States is way worse off in it. Like, you don't understand. You really don't understand. You almost have to just go visit the Balkans to go see what it's like to walk around and not worry about literally anything or anybody. Going to parks, going to stores, asking for something. If you get lost, sitting down and eating, just watching people, watching your own people just in their own environment without having to placate to any woke liberal ideologies, period. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to, lower down to the lowest common denominator, nothing. It's crazy. Just saying, my personal anecdotal experience with that. That's it. You can go and find this in America. I'm sure you can, in your little towns and random pockets, but you never actually lived in a super majority. Wherever you go, there are your people. It's a much different society, just operates differently. You see the civic unity that I was talking about. I mentioned it as like a brotherly spirit. It is apparent. People are still nice to each other. People still help each other out. There is some commonality you just have by default of existing in a society like that, which is completely lost here in America. Yeah.
They're going to end the filibuster, and they are going to pass a blanket amnesty bill. That's the fundamental challenge here. What we are trying to do is say, if you came under the Biden administration, you don't qualify. If you have committed a crime, you don't qualify. And here's the thing about legislation, Laura. You understand this better than most. Laura, if there is an issue with the legislation, you work through that. You fix that. If you want to say that there's a problem here with the waiver, then great, let's revoke it. You know what else I want included in this bill? I want to end sanctuary jurisdictions. I want to ensure that we pass the SAVE Act. Throw it into the bill. We should require proof of citizenship. Nobody under dignity would get citizenship, and they wouldn't get the right to vote. So to me, this is doing nothing is not an answer. Yeah, doing nothing is not an answer, and we actually have to deal with this realistically. That's what they said in 1986. Yeah, 1986, we dealt with that. No, but they gave them pathway to citizenship, and we're not doing that. Right. We're not giving them a pathway to citizenship. Here.
Yeah, that's so fake. So his entire thing is, listen, my plan's better because there will be no pathway. But then as soon as Dems get in power, all of a sudden these people that are under this specific program and being tracked and allowed a kind of residence permit to be in the United States, well, then we'll have something like DACA. And then all the resident permit, all the Dignity Act class of people that have signed up through that program that are in that program directed and controlled by the government, they will just be fast tracked to citizenship now. Let's just, hey, there are 25 million of them or 30 million or however many there are. Let's just fast track these people, give them citizenship and close down this whole dignity program. That's what it's called the Dreamer back then in the Bush days and in Obama. Remember, Obama was trying to reform the Dreamer program big time and include the parents, not just the kids, but include the whole family. That's what Obama was trying to fight to do. So the Dreamer Act was supposed to be for kids that were just brought against, obviously, their own volition. They were children and providing them with some kind of pathway to live in America. But then Obama was trying to reform that to say, and the parents too. And everybody else was like, but the parents are the ones that broke the law knowingly. So how are we going to offer them amnesty if they're literally criminals for breaking the law? Do you know in other countries, I don't know if it's like India or whatever, you go to jail for 10 years. 10 years. In other countries, you will be jailed for think about that, decades for simply crossing illegally. In the United States, you get a pathway to citizenship. You get amnesty. Wow. Are we even serious? And Republicans are pushing this. I want to be very clear that this is Republicans that brought the bill forward. And of course, other Dems have jumped on it as it's something humane to do. So that's putting you as last as an American. And they're going to call them rhinos and say this is the establishment swamp. Brother, they're all in it together. This is the swamp. Literal Republicans and Democrats are the swamp. You can't vote in anybody that represents a Republican and Democrat. They're swamps by automatically designating themselves as one of the two parties. They're swamp creatures. That's where we have to end up in the wider consciousness of Americans. If we don't realize this all together, then we're constantly going to keep getting divided and this country is going to keep getting destroyed. I'm just saying. That's where the consciousness has to shift for the broader population. It's toxic to be a Republican or a Democrat. There is no such thing as rhino or dino, Republican in name only. No, brother, they're all the same. There are no good ones here.
So under this bill, and it's in the legislation, state and local databases involving and describing criminal gang activity are not part of the calculus. That's already determined in this legislation. And as I said, and I will put this online so everyone can read it, there are broad categories in which officers reviewing applications can waive people in under a fact-based, analysis that is subjective and a barn door wide enough for people to roll through for past crimes.
They do full background checks
for past crimes and continuous presence in the United States. So family unity, public interest, other humanitarian concerns. So the admissibility includes broad waivers. That's a major problem with this. I don't know why they keep doing it that way. You probably aren't in favor of that, but it's, full background checks.
No, look, you have to do a full background check, inclusive of criminal history. Gang affiliation is not waived. What it is saying is the presence of somebody in a database does not automatically assume that they are part of a gang. But the bottom line is all of that would have to be reviewed.
How about multiple DUIs?
And it should be.
How about multiple DUIs,
that should be.
Also buried in the bill is taxpayer funded, and I'm not joking, taxpayer funded lawyers that are representing the illegals to put them on this program, this dignity program. You are going to pay for the legal representation of illegals. What? You're paying taxes to pay the lawyers that will be representing the illegals that broke the law to come in your country. Is this not treason? How disgusting have these political parties become? The uniparty. How disgusting is the establishment? You can almost, on both sides, the establishment period, both of them are the same. How disgusting is it that you wake up every single morning, you go to work, you sacrifice your body, you sacrifice your time, you spend time away from your family, if you could even afford a goddamn family today. And you go to a job you hate and they're disappearing. There's less and less jobs today. More and more are getting automated away, or this so-called new underclass is going to get paid half to do what you're doing. Every single day you struggle. So your paycheck could get cut down by the IRS. So that money could be distributed to Israel. So that money could be distributed to Egypt. So it could be distributed to some other programs overseas that you don't benefit from as an American. So it can go to the defense industrial complex. So it can produce more bombs to bomb people that don't even give a shit about us. So that you can pay for more illegals coming into this country. And now on top of that, they're asking you to pay for their representation so they can get a pathway to citizenship. Your tax money. You're being asked to foot the bill and struggle day in and day out. You who have no programs to help you. You that are not committing millions of dollars worth of fraud in brand new Benz and G-Wagons and 8 Series Mercedes in leering centers and all the other fraud and scam and everything else that's going on. You working your ass off at a normal job, paying your taxes, barely struggling to survive, eating your fucking slop, are being asked to pull your fucking bootstraps up and pay for all of this. At what point do enough people get angry enough to start protesting all over the fucking place and shutting the country down economically? What is it going to take to get us all out there? I can only do my part to illuminate what's going on. My part is I'm like the bullhorn. I make it so that all your eyes are open. Look at what they're doing. I can't go out there by myself. Where is the massive protest? Where's the million-man marches? I'm like the canary in the coal mine. I'm screaming, bro. I'm singing. Hey, hey, we got a problem. Hey. And everybody else is just still working, still paying taxes, still doing all. That's it. It's like falling on deaf ears. You got these people and they come online and they're like, so what's your solution? What are you going to do about it? I'm doing the most I can. I have a platform. I have a voice. I'm using it. What the fuck are you doing? You watching right now, every normal person that's being undignified by this. Where is everyone? It's nice, bro. Yes, we're screaming off into the clouds because no one else is doing anything. It takes you guys. You guys are the ones with the power. Do you understand? You guys, all of you in the comment section in the future, writing like, huh, sir, are you going to have a solution? What are you going to do about it? You going to run for office? No, bro, you. I'm providing, yes, the awareness. Now that you're aware and you know what's happening, what are you going to do about it? Because it's going to take us by the millions to make this change. So if the millions are, if the millions are chilling like frogs in that pot, it's boiling, then nothing's going to happen. So I'm screaming into the clouds for nothing. Don't shit on me. I'm at least risking my reputation, my money talking about this shit, my life. They've already put me on lists. They already censored. They already take away shit. They've done worse to many others. So just speaking and having a face is already putting yourself at risk to this government. Where the fuck is everyone? That's my question. How many more people online, there's hardly any left, imagine, how many more people need to speak up about what's going on for people to wake up and start going out by the millions to demand what is rightfully yours by birth? So yeah, you idiot with no fucking picture on your profile talking about what you're going to do about it. Think about this. As you go to work and you pay your taxes like a good little boy and you're asked to do more and more while you could afford less and less, you are the problem. You Haven't even gotten to the part of speaking out yet. You're not even the dude that's brave enough to put his face and his ideas forward and deal with the consequences. You're over there complaining. You're literally the dude complaining with a PFP of like a fucking anime chick. And you're talking about, so what are we going to do about it? Wake me up when something happens. Wake up, retard. Your life is hell. Your country is being stolen from under you. Right under your nose. They literally take your tax money, enrich themselves, build $1 million houses back home in their countries while they're living in $1 million houses. They're in the neighborhoods that you dream to live in with your taxpayer money. Unreal. All right, brief break. Let's see what Claude has done. And then we're starting another one. Here we go. He finished. So that was the timed out request. Okay. Can I just command all? I can't. It highlights every fucking thing. Okay. Let me copy this. Oh, well, Bo is done ranting. What's the next show on Netflix? We're not finished, bro. We're just coding in between. 5 minutes? We're just covering 5 more minutes. I'm about to approve his plan. He's about to go to work. And then we're moving on to the next episode. We're coding in between, and then we're vibe coding. We're not actually coding. We're vibe coding, and then we're going in between.
Yaglooking donated $2. I can only speak for myself. I come from nothing. I have no assets and I have less than 1K in the bank. I would love to go out and protest Bo, but I don't have anything to fall back on when I would eventually lose my job.
And therein lies the trap. Hey, at a certain point, it's going to get so bad that the crumbs they give you won't be enough. So, are you ready for the pain now or later? Just saying. After you click approve, yeah, we know all that. Choose start new session. Here's why: the current running for an hour with ultra plan. Start a fresh session. Once execution starts. Okay.
At Death Isn't Enough donated $10. USA is a broken system creating broken people, designed to break you as a man. Even if I became president, there's too many checks and balances to implement the radical changes we need. Swamp will fight.
Yep. The system wasn't designed for all the mass immigration. That's how you break the system. The system worked for a certain people. A certain kind of people that were all in it together. And you introduced all these carve-outs. This is how you destroyed democracy. Yeah. I mean, the Greeks talked about it. Masculine republics give way to feminine democracies, which give way to tyranny. So we're going to have to vote a strong man in that breaks the system in order to rebuild something better. Opa, what's that? Your local terminal stopped waiting for this plan? Oh no. What? Oh my god, we broke it again. We waited too long to approve this. Why? The repository does not have a Git remote. Why? Bro, I'm connected. My terminal what? Stopped waiting for the plan. My terminal. I guess I do have to be online to do this. Stopped waiting for the plan. Vote harder, bro. Ah, okay. Just execution. Step 1, copy the plan from your browser. Go back to your browser where the plan is still visible. Okay. Close the old Claude code session in the terminal. Let me do that. Let me just do that real quick. I'm going to have him run this in terminal. Okay. Ever watch Attack on Titan?
A damp 911 donated $5. I started wanting to fight, wanted to be patriotic, etc. I was poor when I was a kid living in a single-parent household. Now that I'm successful, I'm working on leaving. I've done well enough to move and only work if I want to. I'm done here. At Isaac Vanderbilt 4505 donated $2. Ever watch Attack on Titan?
I watched, I think, the first season. One second, boys. We got to get him to start going off here. Where's my code? There we go. Code. Alrighty. New sesh. There we go. And now we got to copy this. Bam. Paste the entire plan there. Let it run and watch the file changes. This should take 20-40 minutes depending on how deliberate Claude code is. Coolio. And we're off. He's executed. Technically I could have done it here, but we're done with the ultra planning. I'll leave this for later. Okay. He is off here and to the side. I think what screen pip? Maybe it's this one. Nope. This one. Yeah, there you go. Let me fix these two while we're at it. This was conduit alert. Okay, this is chat, clearly. All right, and this last one, what is this last one? Sub alerts. There you go. Hey. The fuck? Okay, we're done. Let's just get rid of that session. All right. For later. Moving on. He's off working over here on the left.
At Maxim Stepin Act 6,716 donated £5 and 0 pence. I am studying abroad as a British Croatian citizen to eliminate education debt. Did you enjoy Opatija? Seriously, have you heard of the Fabian Society?
I have, and Opatia is beautiful. I stayed in Ichichi. It's next door to Opatia, one town over. Had a villa there. I will be buying a house on the Dalmatian coast. I'm getting a villa there. I will 100%. Have my house here in Phoenix and one over there. That's my new life goal to reach. Plus, through my wife, Croatians don't pay property taxes, at least on their property they're living in, their main property. So if you have one property, 0 property taxes. How beautiful is that? That's called freedom. No property taxes.
Yeah, Cooking donated $2. I am working on changing things though. I'm using Claude to develop something that would help others. It's mostly done now. Just need to finish up things on the back end of coding.
Good shit, brother. Don't stop. Keep it going. Imagine having no property taxes. Yeah. Wouldn't that... The sight for sore eyes, eh? Ready for you to run NPM start. Oh, he finished it already. What? Let me copy this real quick. Cool. That's done. So, this is all back-end demo stuff. Okay, I just needed to make sure Ultra Plan works. So I'm going to have to be messing with this for the next entire day after the stream. So, fuck yeah. It's working, boyos. Okay. Let's start with some Yang.
This weekend, we have reached a turning point in the war. It is possible that in a few hours or by tomorrow, we will have reached the point of no return. Donald Trump.
Let me double check if he has something near midterm examination. Actually, this is what I wanted to see.
Today is our midterm examination, a chance for you to question and examine me. All right, so before we look at the questions for the midterm examination,
is this live?
I want to discuss briefly the ceasefire between the United States and Iran. So yesterday, Donald Trump announced that there will be a 2-week pause to this war and that the United States and Iran will meet in Pakistan to negotiate a possible long-term ceasefire. And what he said that's very important is that he will use the 10-point Iranian plan as a framework to discuss a peace treaty. And as you can see from the 10-point plan.
See, we have him already in the chat. Why do you listen to this idiot? What the fuck? What the fuck, bro? You should be on Fox News. You should listen to who, bro? To who? Listen to everybody. He's CCP though. I saw that. I was going through Twitter and I heard he's a CCP plant. I have to discard every single thing this guy has ever said.
In fact,
this is why they're so good at propaganda, by the way, because people don't use their own brains. As long as you smear somebody, you watch a few videos and they're like, this guy's CCP. CCP, oh my God, dude, the hive mind, it just goes into overdrive and people are like, oh my God, why are you watching this? Hey, bro, because he has points and let's dissect them. It's called critical thinking. It's crazy. You should try it sometime.
This is almost a complete U.S. surrender to Iran. The first point is that the United States will guarantee never to attack Iran again. Iran will have complete control over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran can choose to enrich uranium for its nuclear program. All sanctions on Iran will be removed. This is a very big deal. Removal of all secondary sanctions against foreign entities that do business with Iran. End of all United Nations Security Council resolutions against Iran. End of all International Atomic Energy Agency resolutions. Compensation, reparations for all the damage that the United States and Israel did to Iran. Withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the Middle East, giving Iran control over the Middle East. And the last, and the most important, is that the United States will also agree to end hostilities against all of Iran's proxies, including Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen. So as you can see, this is basically a complete U.S. surrender to Iran, which tells us right away that Donald Trump is not serious. If you go into a shop and you negotiate with a shop owner and you want to sell maybe a book to the guy, and you're hoping...
By the way, we're massing a ton of units. Preparing for something, some kind of ground invasion or island landing or amphibious assault of some kind, something like that. There are reports that there is yet again another ceasefire being discussed between Pakistan, the United States, Israel, Lebanon, and something in regards to China having some sway over Iran. Regardless, there is an incredible amount of material, heavy weapons, and soldiers now, Marines stationed in San Diego that are all headed to the Middle East. I'm going to assume the ceasefire fails again because of Israel, most likely. And we now have assets in place in order to begin a ground incursion of some kind, whether through islands or somewhere else, whatever they have planned in CENTCOM. So if you look at it in totality, Hegseth fired everybody that would tell him no, everybody that warned them that this is a bad idea. They then went ahead with the plan of trying to build a runway and secure the nuclear material with like 100 plus special forces and support aircraft. That failed horribly. They ended up lying about it, saying it was some F-15 rescue. That may have spooked us into maybe a ceasefire deal, who knows. Pakistan confirms the ceasefire did include Lebanon. Israel declined. It came out later, I think I read today, that Israel, Netanyahu called Trump and essentially convinced him why Lebanon should not be included in the ceasefire. And so Israel continues its bombing campaign, which it accelerated in the last 24 hours. Iran said, under no uncertain terms, did you not agree to Lebanon? So did Pakistan. Why would those two be lying? Iran, obviously it makes sense. You could say they wanted to break the ceasefire, but Pakistan was the one brokering this, including China on the back end. And Pakistan confirmed that, yes, Lebanon was part of the original 10-point agreement. So Israel broke it. Okay. That's the story so far, at least from what I've seen. So if there is a new deal reached amongst them all, including Lebanon now, and Iran, or I should say Israel, doesn't derail it in any way whatsoever, what stops them from breaking down the ceasefire and being like 7 for 7 and ceasefires being broken? What's different this time? The United States already said they threw it in the garbage. The 10-point plan was trash. They're not going to agree to most of those points, and they're still going to want the nuclear material and all this other stuff. In the meantime, while we're discussing a ceasefire and parties are sitting down and using Pakistan as an intermediary, we have massive amounts of troops being massed. Now we're sending Marines from San Diego. What do you think we're building up towards? Does that sound like a ceasefire is going well? Does it sound like the negotiations are going well? Or are we in preparation for the negotiations to absolutely fail and then again climb the escalation ladder and force the Strait open? What is the plan here? So Israel already, Bibi Netanyahu came on the news in Israel locally, addressing everybody in Hebrew, of course, saying that Israel are the ones who decide that this war ends. Israel, nobody else. Not receiving enough. It's buffering. 1 second. I think I could fix the buffering. We're going to have to get off of Twitch and Rumble. Guys, if you're on Twitch and Rumble, appreciate you guys. Get over on Kick or YouTube. We're just going to, I think we're buffering too many streams. So let me fix that right now. We're going to end Twitch real quick. I have Cox internet. It's terrible. I wish I had Gigabyte, but I don't. Okay, I'm going to shut off Rumble next. Thanks, boys. Okay. All right, we got the stream down to Kick and YouTube now. It should start working. Refresh everything. It was most likely YouTube's end, but just in case, we don't need the other two. So back to what I was saying. Netanyahu came on TV and said that Israel's the one who really controls the pace of the war and when this ends, and they're going to press forward, and they believe it's a bad idea. This 2-week ceasefire plan will give Iran enough time to rearm and potentially strike them again and just solidify every gain that they've had. And in a sense, they are correct. China is already supplying them with a ton of weapons and materials in order to produce said weapons in general anyways and keep their drone production high. But another thing that you need to understand about this is Israel does not want the pace to stop, period, and never wanted to. So even if the United States does, we essentially just have to go by what the Israelis want. It doesn't matter what Trump wants. Clearly, he's been... YouTube's an asshole. Yeah. Is it still buffering? Is it still buffering? Yeah, if it is still buffering on YouTube, we're just going to go straight to Kick. It is now saying it's excellent, so I think the buffering should stop. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Kick works fine. I keep telling you guys get on Kick. Let me post that up there. I don't even have that comment pinned. There you go, boys. Ad-free experience on Kick too, by the way. Okay, so what I was saying is the ceasefire negotiations most likely will not hold. We're going to escalate with all the troops and all the weapons build up. And Israel, you went to Kick? Nice. Or Iran, rather, is going to be able to solidify charging a toll for every single tanker that has to go through the Hormuz Strait, which was free before. So Iran is winning this economically speaking. And Israel today has started bombing them, dramatically so, expanding the targets and the target list. Iran has, of course, retaliated by bombing a bunch of other GCC infrastructure. So again, the ceasefire failed to hold. Apparently there's talks. The market is yo-yoing up and down every time there is word of a talk, a ceasefire negotiation happening. The market's reacting violently up or down. And I don't know. I guess over the coming couple of days, there will be some form of negotiation happening. A ceasefire potentially, but I don't see why the United States would not just take this, I don't know, 5-day, 6-day lull, whatever they agree to, 2 weeks to just mass armaments, weapons, ships, and whatever else they need in order to start an incursion with troops. Why else would you be sending Marines from San Diego on top of all of this? So just think about it. What we say versus what we're doing is two completely different things. So if you follow the administration, you think everything's going well. But what you're not seeing is the other side of the news, which is we're being drained of our armaments. We're being drained of our missiles, our interceptors, our tomahawks, everything that is expensive and slow to make. And we don't have the production capability to match the intensity of the use. And so Iran is obviously not winning militarily. They've been absolutely crushed. But what they do have is almost like a guerrilla tactic style weapons launch platform. It only takes a couple platforms to launch some missiles to do some damage. It only needs to hit 1 or 2 ships. You only need one of these loitering torpedoes to successfully attack a tanker, and the strait remains closed. They've already, while being under bombardment by Israel and the United States, have a working toll system in the Hormuz where Chinese yuan is being traded for safe passage. Like, you understand what that means. It doesn't matter we're the strongest military in the world, the largest empire. We cannot force the strait open because one missile closes it down. Nobody's tankers are going to want to cross because you cannot guarantee the safety. Can we guarantee the safety of every single tanker that not one missile or drone successfully gets through? The answer is no, we can't. Therefore, it stays closed. This is the ace in the hole of Iran. This is what it is. It is impossible to force it open unless you go for total war domination. Do we want to put troops on the ground? Think about that for a second. That's what we're talking about here. In order to wrest control of the strait the way we want and force it open, we need ground troops. And even that doesn't guarantee that. So, how does this not escalate? I'm asking you. And even if it doesn't escalate, somehow there's a ceasefire that will be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months long, whatever. We agree on some of the points and we meet in the middle with them and likewise them with us. Why not build back up and go finish the job later? Think about it. And even if we don't do that, and somehow, if you see peace on the horizon, somehow, why not? Or I wouldn't even say why not. Think about this. The damage to the infrastructure is done. That's permanent. So it's going to take some time to rebuild everything. It's going to take so much time to get everything back online and at previous production levels. Demand is still high. All the oil facilities, the gas facilities, the terminals, the depots, it's all down. It's all offline. Production is fucked. Well, that production is going to lag in the market for months, if not years. Well, that introduces price increases. That is a upward pressure on price. There is very little supply, and supply is still net. I don't know how many millions of barrels, and that adds up. And so that pushes up demand. That pushes up the price. We're not staying at $100 a barrel. The reality on the ground is much worse. And at the same time while this is happening, we're architecting BRICS into existence. Now everybody's going to settle in yuans. It is already operating as a toll booth in Hormuz. That's crazy.
$400. But because it's bargaining, you think, oh, maybe I should start high. So you say $1,000. If you say $1,000 and the shop owner says, yeah, I'll take that deal, there's something wrong here, okay? All right, so there's something very wrong. And there's very little chance that the ceasefire will hold.
Actually, yeah, let's just go straight up to kick. All right, YouTube. We're going to have to leave you guys. We're going to kick for the rest of the show. We're going to watch a couple more after this potentially. And yeah, continue hanging out, coding, and the rest. We've done 2 hours on YouTube already. So I will spam the live stream link right now for kick. There you go. All right, fellas. We'll see you over on the other side.